These community replica projects are getting too much traction right now, to the point where I physically cannot keep up with all the contributors. So I want to take a step back, take a little break, and get something going where it is going to be properly organized, where I can have people kind of help me out, so keeping these things up. And currently I am looking at two options. And I want you guys to vote it down in the description below, kind of which ones you prefer. So option one is to branch out my existing very large Discord server to include a Sprocket section and probably go into the usage of threads on Discord and then kind of go from there and have people contribute through that. Or to have an entirely separate Discord server from the ground up where just the goal is going to be Sprocket. That's it. I do want to preview some builds that are going to come out in the Modern Era pack coming tomorrow, which is going to be the last pack before the little break that I will be taking to reorganize the whole thing, because I really didn't expect this to blow up as much as it did. So right here I have the 155mm self-propelled gun howitzer Zuzana, made by Nicer, and this one sadly is too large to get itself from off its firing position right here. But I can still fire the gun, and yeah, it has a 45-second reload, so this shot better be worth it, basically. Let's see if we can just aim for this fuel barrel right there. Yes, we can. Alright. That's going to be the 155mm gun tank, and I'm going to just take a few other builds that I'm actually going to be taking out. So, there's only one of few, like, actual armored vehicles, and only one of few, like, artillery pieces as well. And another one we got here is a B1 Centauro Draco, also made by Nicer. And this one actually has a lot better mobility, and it's built, of course, on the Centauro 1 chassis. But it is an artillery piece instead of an armored car. Sadly, as with all of these armored cars, the front, like, sprocket, or the rear sprocket, whichever one is driving the vehicle, has to be sacrificed in terms of diameter in order to make it look good. So its driving mobility is kind of poor. But even then, it's a pretty big artillery piece, and still an armored car that looks very, very nice. Entirely something different, we're going to be looking at one of the M1A2 models. And this one is going to be the Tusk, made by COPPA. And this is a straight up modern main battle tank. Of course, the M1 Abrams is going to be retired very soon, as the US Army is looking at new options for main battle tanks. But while it's still here, it's going to have a little bit of a limelight in the Sprocket Modern Era pack, featuring a 120mm main gun that is fully stabilized on a composite armored, very mobile vehicle with a 1500 horsepower turbine engine. Sadly, of course, we do not get to have turbine engines at Sprocket yet, so it just has a regular engine here. But it still has excellent mobility. Overall, it is a vehicle worthy of your attention, as it is just going to be very powerful in combat. The last one on this page, I think I'm going to take out the Puma Ifv here. So the Puma was made by Canadasm 101. Sorry if I butchered that name. And this is a German infantry fighting vehicle that is still to use today. And yeah, that's an autocannon. In Sprocket, it doesn't fire as fast as in real life. But of course, it's an infantry fighting vehicle. It is not meant to directly combat enemy tanks, and it's more to support the infantry, capable of carrying a large amount of soldiers from the back, like an entire squad. It can just bring them into the battlefield and provide a very solid fire support. As often is the case with infantry fighting vehicles, it's always like the logic of bringing some kind of armored vehicle is better than not having one at all. And these ones will be deployed at places where tanks generally cannot be deployed for whichever reason. And with that, we're going to go on to the second page real quick. And let's see, which one are we going to take? Let's take the Type 90 here. The Type 90 was made by Mumu, a fellow content creator. And this is the almost a Japanese equivalent of a Leopard 2A4. And it has already been kind of phased out partially by the Type 10, as this tank was a bit too heavy for the Japanese main lens, and it could often not cross all the bridges, so the Type 10 ended up being much lighter than this vehicle. But it's still in use because the Japanese have this kind of like two models of tanks in service at a time kind of thing going on. So like when the Type 90 came out, they didn't retire the old Type 74s, but they did retire the models prior to the Type 74s. And now with the Type 10, they retired the D74, but they did keep the Type 90. And or of that, they always have this kind of mixed bag of old and new vehicles in their military inventory. But this one does have a 120mm gun with, funny enough, an upside down viewport there, so good luck with aiming through that. And very good mobility once again. This one is probably a bit lighter than the M1A1 Abrams or the M1A2. So definitely has some advantage there, while maintaining the same firepower, although probably a little bit lower protection. And let's take one more vehicle for a spin here. Let's go for the T-72 2S19, which is a T-72 modification. We're making it into a self-propelled gun. Funny enough, this one has like this full turret going on, and it's a really big turret. But it's on a main battle tank chassis, which gives it very good mobility for what it is and very good hull protection. But the turret protection, of course, is going to be very underwhelming because it is needed for shell storage and crew comfort to be that big. Otherwise, it's much harder to man a gun of this size. And I always forget that there is an invisible wall there. I always keep driving. My bad. Yeah, so those are some of the builds you guys can expect to see tomorrow. And yeah, there's a whole list of builds, so do tune in of the video tomorrow to see the rest of them in action. And of course, tomorrow will also be where this pack will become available to download. That's it. That's all I got for today. Again, vote down in the description below to see whether you guys want to have a separate Discord server or want me to branch out the existing server that I personally have, so it's not part of the official Discord, to clarify here. It's gonna be my own community thing. And yeah, with that, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys all in the next one.